All right, but I have to just say, we're just Ann Dunne. We're just talking there about sea swimming, and you were just saying that before lockdown, it was just swimming.
Just swimming, yeah.
You're a sea swimmer. You're a swimmer.
Yeah.
And you were also saying you didn't get the dry robe.
No, because it just felt like it was a big group thing, and I wasn't into
or
that.
A kind of an affectation.
Yeah, everybody was wearing it to the supermarket and everything, you know.
I know. I know somebody well who lives out in Dunleary, and she was the same about the dry robe. She was like, I wouldn't, go near a dry robe.
There was a really funny skit with the Dirt Birds.
Oh yeah, Dirt Birds is Sue, who I used to work with in the Newlands. Yeah,
and they were doing about talking about it's great on your skin and everything.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing it? Well, I only started yesterday. Did you see that one? It's really good.
Yes, and it is a whole funny thing. So you, Ann Dunne, you live in Howth, and so that's the swimming piece. Tell us, who is Ann Dunne? Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up in Howth. Well, no, actually, I didn't grow up initially. I was born in Kilbarrack.
Yeah.
When it was just all fields and there was just a few houses there. And in fact, you know who lived around the corner from us? Roddy Doyle. He was only a little fellow. We used to push him in his buggy.
Yeah.
He lived just around the corner, and it was lovely. It was a whole lot of young married couples all had their kids together. So it was a great group of kids.
Yeah.
But my grandma lived in Howth, so we moved up when I was just made my communion. It's about 7.
Yeah.
And then from then we already had friends there because we visited all the time. Yeah. And she was brilliant. My grandma was just amazing. She was a young granny. She was like able to bring us on the train and bring us into town. And the trains were only every 2 or 3 in the day, I think, back then.
The trains into
the old diesel trains,
yeah.
And just after, we didn't get the steam. I think I vaguely might remember some steam trains.
Yeah.
But she was all full of go. And then the other granny was in Arklow.
Yeah.
And we'd visit her every few weeks. And I must just tell you about her because she had this great story.
Yeah.
She was a real storyteller. She was a real old granny with a bun.
And what was her name?
Penny. So her name was Mary Ann. I'm actually called after her.
Mary Ann. And what was her surname? Mary Ann Walsh?
Yeah.
Oh, my mother's Walsh.
Really?
Yes.
She's a be related.
Yeah.
So anyway, she'd always tell you a story. She'd sit on her lap and she'd tell you stories. So she had told us this story that she was right on the river, and she was standing out one day, and this little girl with a big heavy book came running down, and she asked Granny to mind the book. And the next thing, the little girl ran away, and these two, my Granny knew they were bad men. They came down, they were looking for the little girl. So she sent them in the other direction over the bridge. And she told her Granny no one else could see the book, only her, till she came back. But she never came back. And anyway, the book was up in the attic and only Granny could look at it. So every week when we'd come down, she'd tell us a story out of the book. And then sometimes we'd come back the next week and be like, Granny, will you tell us that story you told us about the magic cow or whatever it was? And she'd say, oh, I'll have to look at the book. She said, the only problem is every time you open the book, it's a different story. It's a magic book, So I have passed on that book to loads of children. And
what is the book? It's a book of Irish stories.
No, it's an invisible in her.
Oh!
I've told loads of kids, and I've promised them they can have the book when they grow up. So I have it now.
So her story was that she got this in a mysterious way.
Magic book.
Oh, that is wonderful.
And then so she'd tell us the story out of the book, supposedly.
And even I believed your story there. Oh, that is wonderful. And did you pass that on to your grandkids?
So I've passed it on to all my friends' kids and all that. They've all heard about the book. So
there's all a version of the book in the attic.
Yeah. So I have it I don't have an attic, but I have it. I have it hidden here somewhere.
That they're going to get when they grow up.
So they
that's wonderful. And so growing up in Howth, what era would that have been?
So we moved in the 60s. Yeah. Early 60s, really.
So what was it like here then?
Oh, so quiet. It was just,
Did it still feel like a fishing village?
Absolutely, yeah. Used to go down to see the boats coming in maybe on a Thursday, and there was a big hold. I don't know if that's the right word, but the whole middle of the boat was just a big hole. Yeah. And it would be full to the top with fish still flapping around.
Yeah.
And then the fishermen would throw you up some I don't know if we ever paid for them.
Yeah, but it's got really built up in Howth now.
Yeah.
It was a totally different vibe then?
We had woods all around us, and we weren't allowed to, but we used to go out on the head, as we called it. There was a little lane from our road, and it was straight out onto the cliffs. Well, not the cliffs, but beside the cliffs. And
did you start swimming then from when you were quite young?
Yeah, there was a famous place that if you ask anyone in Howth, they will have spent their summers there, called the Stake.
Yeah.
And it was a pool that had been built, I think, in Victorian times, into the rocks.
Yeah.
And we all just spent our whole summers down there, and we all learned to swim there. Yeah, but it's too dangerous now. The access is all there was a load of steps down, and they're all broken.
Oh, what a shame!
So it was condemned like years and years ago. So I don't know how many.
And with regard to the swimming, do you swim year round?
More or less, yeah. I've kind of got a bit less but mostly, I still do. I love it. It's my favourite thing.
So and is there a community, or you were saying that you go off on you found other quieter spots now?
Yeah. Well, there's a new little beach that only came since they kind of rebuilt the harbour, where it's down opposite the Dart station. It's just a little tiny one there. I shouldn't be telling you because I want somewhere peaceful.
When did that? Did they deliberately build that beach, or did it just form?
It just came, yeah.
When?
When they did the work in the harbour, probably in the 80s or something, they put a little kind of nib on with the new lighthouse.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that did it, but it seemed to push the sand in around, and so this beach just formed.
Just near the... you should be saying, do many people know that beach is there?
Yeah,
they do now.
You get a good few people in the summer, but like in the winter now, there'll be nobody there.
Yeah.
So, and then the other place, it's really depending on the wind. So there's the Burrow Beach.
Yeah.
If the wind is coming from the north, we go around to the Dinghy Club in Sutton. And then Balscaden is pretty calm usually, if you can do all the steps, because I've done it. There's a load of steps.
I have. That's the one everybody knows. If you just get the train out to Howth to go swimming, you go to Balscaden.
When I started swimming there maybe 25 years ago or something with a group of people, I was the youngest then. They were all in their 70s and 80s. I remember maybe occasional tourists passing by and looking down at us in amazement, and we're in the sea in the middle of winter. Yeah. And now it is, I don't know, it seems to be world famous now. It's just so packed, And
tell us what you did when you left school.
So the first thing I did was I applied for NCAG, and I got in, and I applied for, there was a new college just opened up in Dunleary, which I think now,
IADT.
Yeah. It was brand new then. I think it was like the first year or something.
All right. So which one did you get into?
So I got into the two of them, but what I decided to do was, my aunt was living in Spain. My aunt had a huge influence on my aunt. She introduced me to books. She always, she used to write her own little books for me and everything. She was brilliant, and she was my godmother.
And how come she ended up living in Spain?
She met a Spanish man, and she ended up living over there, and she's a little girl in Alicante, and it was really quiet then as well. It wasn't like now. It was kind of before tourism really. Yeah. So she got me into an art college over there, and what are you going to do? Would you like to go to our college in Ireland, or would you like to go in Spain? Well, but I saved up all the money myself. I worked in a chemist for 6 months till I had enough money to go, which I literally, I didn't go out. I just saved and saved and saved. And I babysat at the weekends as well, so I wasn't really going out.
So did you go to art college in Alicante?
So, yeah.
That's amazing. So you moved out there. What year would that have been?
1975, I think.
75. Forgive my ignorance here, but is that just at the end of the...
Franco was still alive.
He was still... When did the Franco era end?
I think it was 2 years later.
2 years later.
So it was really strict.
What was it like?
Oh my God, it was so strict.
Was it?
Yeah. The girls weren't allowed to go out without a chaperone. They had to be in every night. So I was like... because I was able to go out with the boys. The girls had to go home. Yeah. But you couldn't change on the beach. Yeah. You had to go into these beach cabins to get changed. It was really strict. There was no divorce. There was, it was more strict than Ireland.
And was the social atmosphere quite oppressive? Did you feel?
Yeah,
you know, you go to Spain now. They're just the ordinary life. There's a great warmth. There's a great culture around food, and there's a lovely family vibe. There's a lovely vibrancy.
There was that, but there was an underlying current of terror of Franco, you know. And I saw a woman on the beach one day, and she'd made herself like out of toweling material. She'd made this big cape thing with an elastic here, so she was changing under it, and 2 policemen came along and nearly hit her for getting changed on the beach. She was completely covered up, so they were really, really strict.
Wow.
And then, like, just I'm trying to think of all the things you were kind of under curfew. You were under surveillance if you were out in the evening or anything.
And you must have stuck out a bit, being an Irish girl.
Yeah, they called me Rubia, even though my hair was brown. But that Rubia was kind of nearly meant red, blonde, you know.
And what was our college like?
It was a bit hard because I spoke French. Well, I didn't speak Spanish. I only was picking it up, you know. And my teacher spoke French, so I had a hard time making friends with the other students because I didn't have enough Spanish. And
did you pick up the Spanish?
I did, yeah. But I was terribly shy. I remember my aunt sent me out to get something like, I don't know, bread or something, or something more than bread. That I was pointing and all. I was afraid to open my mouth to try out the Spanish, you know.
So you're saying you're shy, but you had the bravery to go, well, I could go to NCAD, I could go to IDT. No, I'll go to Spain. That's
well, it was an adventure, you know, you're 18.
Yeah, but that's not a shy person. That's bravery and...
I suppose,
And how many years were you out there?
So I only did a year, and then I was going to go back and finish off, and then anyway I came home, and God, my mother, she picks me up at the airport. Now, you're going to have to do a secretarial course. And on the way home in the car, like, and I'm like, Mum, just let me get home.
And
you know?
I cannot tell you the number of women I've talked to of your generation, generations before, the secretary. My mother did a secretarial course. It was secretarial course. That's what you did as a woman. So your mother picks you up and goes, now. In
the car, I can still even remember where we were on the way home from the airport, and she stopped me, and I'm like, God, you didn't even say, you know, did you have a good time? It's just, now, get a good job in the bank, you know, because that was it. There was like insurance, bank, maybe you could be a teacher and a secretary, and if you didn't go to university. And they weren't too keen on that because it was a bit of a waste, because you're going to get married soon anyway, and you're not going to be working. Yeah. So that was kind of it. And then I did a very quick secretarial course. It was
did you?
Irish
So you
Times.
did your year there, and
no,
but
I didn't.
You didn't.
No, it was really quick.
You did your year in Alicante. You came back and you didn't continue the art studying.
because it was right. You're going to do the secretarial course. It was the Irish Times, and it was typing, shorthand, and learning how to work. What's the name of those machines? It was before copying, before photocopiers, and it was a big drum. You typed out. You took the ribbon off your typewriter and you typed out the thing, and it hit out all the letters. So you had you know what I mean?
It was was it kind of like typesetting?
Well, no, you banged out all the letters without the ribbon to soften it. They all fell out. So then when you put this thing on a drum and you rolled it around, the ink kind of went through onto paper, and you could make loads of copies. And then we were told what we had to wear: a white blouse, maybe a ribbon at your neck, ribbon at your neck, to dress up for the interviews and for work. And you need to have a sewing set for your boss in case he needed his button sewn on. And imagine, like, you know, and of course that wasn't really my thing. You know,
you know, when you're hearing all this, and it's that is the era. Was there a bit of you had resistance to that?
Yeah, definitely.
And also, you were studying art. Did you want to be an artist?
I did. Well, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I would have probably preferred to have gone and studied languages, because I was quite good at them.
Yeah.
And just, you know, and I'd done Latin in school, which was a great help. Yeah. But I didn't really know what I wanted to be doing, you know.
So you did that course, and then out of the course, what did you go into?
So after that, I got a job this is quite interesting, I got a job in James Adams in Stephen's Green, which is an auctioneer's and fine art and antique shop. And
so the art continued.
Yeah.
That probably helped you in the interview, did it?
Yeah, I don't know, I think he just liked me. It was James Adam himself, and I was going to be his secretary. And he was lovely. He was a really nice old man. But he probably wasn't old then, but you know, to me he was. Yeah. So we went around the country. We go to people's houses and we'd look at all their fabulous furniture.
That's fabulous.
And valued them. So and then we had antique sales every couple of months. So at that time I could tell you the value of every antique and the names of all the different styles.
Do you still have an interest in that whole? Do you still have an eye?
I would, yeah, but I'm totally out of touch. And things go in and out of fashion. So silver was all in then.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
This would have been
China.
70s.
That'd be 76, 7, yeah, something like that.
So it was big emphasis on silver. You must have gone to some fascinating places around the country then.
We did, yeah. There was a politician who had died, and I can't remember if his name was Costello or Cosgrave or Cosgrove. And we went to his house on, Raglan Road or one of those. At the time, I didn't know this outside at all.
Yeah.
Some big old house, and he died, so it was a bit gloomy, and his housekeeper was let us in, and they showed us loads of silver and all the furniture, and you'd even value the kitchen spoons and things as well. But then we had to go to the bank and get out more of his stuff that he had stored, more silver in the bank. And at the time, it was quite valuable. Silver was, not so much gold. And
there was a whole you'd have your auction. Obviously, there was money in Ireland. Yeah. There was always the quiet money class, I suppose.
Yeah, it was great. It was really interesting. Yeah. So, but then I kind of still had this hankering for doing other things. So I met Mick, my husband then, he was my boyfriend then, and we decided we'd go off and do a bit of an out tour around Europe, which would have been the equivalent of someone going off to do their gap year in Thailand now. Yeah. So we organised, we got student cards so that you could get everything cheaper, and we booked and off we went. We got the ferry to England, we got the train or the bus down to London, and then we took a hovercraft to we took a hovercraft to Belgium, I think it was. Yeah, and then we did a course in Belgium. We got into all this stuff. It was sort of a Japanese healing thing. And we did,
Wow, sounds really hippie.
Yeah, it was.
Was it? Yeah. So you did a course in Japanese healing.
Yeah, which was probably all hocus pocus anyway. But at the time we thought it was great. And then we hitched from Brussels down to Paris.
Lots of people hitchhiked then, didn't they? Yeah. You don't see it at all now.
No, because we hitched in Ireland too before that. God, I wouldn't have thought of my kids doing that now. But anyway. We got to Paris. And we met a guy there. Mick was busking in the street. We were trying to pick up a few bob here and there, and we weren't getting any money. And then I got a sign. I just put Irish on it, and suddenly everybody was stopping. It was during the Troubles. They were all giving us money.
I love it.
And then this guy asked us, could he join us? And he started to do miming, and he was studying under Marceau.
Yeah.
So and then we arranged to meet him again, and I ended up seeing him. We didn't keep in touch. We did for a while, and his name was Malcolm Jamieson, and he ended up being like an actor. Yeah. I saw him on TV a few times subsequently. I don't know if he's still alive, but the last time I saw him, he was reading stories out for children, really cool ones. So then we went on down. We went to Bordeaux. We stayed in Paris for a few weeks. My friend that I had grown up with, there was an empty apartment that we were able to stay in. Her family's one absolutely incredible. Yeah. It was all like Louis XIV gold furniture, and all these salons. One opened into the next. It was just gorgeous. Stayed there for a while, and then we went down to Bordeaux to pick grapes. And we did that for a few weeks, and it was hell. It was really hard work, it's like backbreaking. You're bending over all day. And then
did they have the traditional kind of
things on your baskets, back? And then we just did that for a few weeks. But then we had a rest where we were picking up here for a while. Then your arms get sore, And then we took I think we didn't hitch anymore. We took a train down to Alicante because I wanted to go back there, show Mick where I had gone to college and all, and it was still there all.
Yeah.
And we had a great time, but we used to use travellers' checks, and we were getting sick and tired of it, you know, trying to find a bank that's open at the right time. So we decided to go and cash all our money and brought it to the beach and went in for a swim, and we could see people at our bag. We came back out and all our money was gone. We barely had whatever little bits scrabbled together, you know. And we'd been staying in a pension in the Calle Mayor, which is a little tiny street. And the lady had been really nice till we came back and told her we were robbed. And she was like, I hope you have enough to pay me now. That was all she was worried about. So we went to the police, and Franco hadn't died yet, I don't think. And we met a guy on our way to the police station. He says, don't go to the police station. I went and told them I was robbed, and they arrested me for vagrancy. But we did go. And they weren't very nice. But anyway, luckily one of my friends that I had made there previously was working in a travel agent, and he managed to get us a trip back to London on a bus. Literally, like, down to the last few pennies. So we got back to London. We had to take a bus all the way up, and every time there was a stop, all the people got out of the bus and went in and ate. We'd no food.
And you were starving.
And
so
we managed to get a cup of coffee in a machine, and Mick took sugar in his coffee and I didn't. So we said, we won't stir it, and I'll drink the top and you drink the bottom. So that's all we had for like a day and a half. And when we got back, we were getting the hovercraft again. Everyone was so sick everyone, even the hostesses were sick because
but you weren't, because
we weren't, because we had no food on us. And then we literally got back to Mick's brother was living in London at the time. And we walked all around London, and we managed to get a ticket back to Holyhead or Liverpool, I don't know which now. And we got home, got on the bus, and we divvied out our money, and we had 50 pence each left. So coming back, starting all
and
over
you started
again.
over again. And what did you work at then when you came back?
So then I worked in a travel agents, which was actually great. So, you know, my mum was good in a way getting me to do the secretarial course, because I learned how to type. And that was great, the travel agents, and I got a few nice trips from them too. You know, they were, there must have been some money around, because these trips we went to one in the south of Spain. Tourism was only really starting, and every single day they gave us caviar. Like,
so that would have been right at the beginning of the tourism in Spain.
They
after
were
things had
only
over.
building.
So what was it? Well, that was the whole joke, wasn't it? You went on holiday. Oh, it was lovely. They were building it while we were there.
It was like that, you know. But and then so I ended up, when I'm trying to think what happened next. God. Anyway, next thing
you still loved Mick after you'd been through that ordeal with him on your holidays, and you ended up marrying him, so he passed the test.
So he did.
What was it about Mick that you fell for in the first place?
He was really funny. He had a good sense of humour, you know, it made me laugh. So I think that's really important, because, you know.
So when did you get married?
So we
it's
got
the only reason
married.
Anne stays with me.
1978.
So that was it was an interesting time you got married, because like talking to women who had been married 6-7 years before that, with the marriage bar, women used to have to give up their jobs. But it was well past all that. It was
But the attitude hadn't changed.
Has it not?
No, not then. No, my mum, because when I had Nicole, my baby daughter, and the travel agents rang me up to say would I come back to work, and I was all like. And my mum was like, no, you can't. You couldn't leave the baby. You're a housewife now. You know, kind of. She didn't say you're a housewife now, but that's, you know. Then again, I was probably expecting her after 5 children and a couple of miscarriages, and she'd cancer a lot when we were kids. I was probably expecting her to just go, oh yeah, I'll mind the baby, you know. So anyway.
So what did you do?
So I stayed at home. So I was stuck at home. I actually found it really. I think I had postnatal depression as well. I didn't even know what that was.
What age were you?
I was 22 when she was born. Yeah. And I just felt so trapped. It was so trapped. Like, just, you know, and there was no money. It was, you know, it was just kind of coming up to the 80s where there wasn't, you know, people, all our friends were going away and everything because there was no work here. And the rents were really cheap. You could rent a house in Howth for €8 a week, I think it was.
£8, yeah.
£8, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I just felt so stuck, you know, all the things that I wanted to do, it felt like I was never going to get to do them because I was, and I mean, God, of course I loved the baby and, you know, she also had colic, which didn't help. So for 8 months, none of us got any sleep. Yeah. And I think I was going a bit crazy, like with...
And was there a support network there of other mums?
There was 2 friends who had kids and they didn't live near me, and none of my other friends had kids yet, so they were all, you know, some of them were still in college, and you know, the ones that did, not many went to college, and not back then. But so I kind of, then luckily my sister, she got married and moved really close to me, I mean the same road, and she had a baby too, so we kind of, and that was great, we could support each other.
Yeah. But how long was it before you went back to work? Before you took a...
I was always trying to do things to try and, you know, make a few bob. Yeah. So I used to make pavlovas for the Sands Hotel in Portmarnock.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I would...
How did that come about?
Because an old friend of the family from years ago was a cousin of James Scott Lennon in the Abbey Tavern, and he was running the Sands. And I can't remember how... It was an aunt from New Zealand had taught us all how to make pavlovas years beforehand, and I don't know how he knew I knew how to make. Anyway, he asked me to make them.
Because pavlova would have been the cutting edge pudding of the time.
My God, my mother had only not that long ago learned how to make spaghetti bolognese, and that was like, you know, wow, so exotic.
So you had this amazing skill, your pavlovas. So you used to
I used to make them every day, every night. I could do it in my sleep. Like I'd make the pavlova in the evening when the child was gone to bed. For finally, and she stopped crying for hours and hours, and then the next day I decorate it and then put it on in a suitcase on top of a pram because I had no car, and push it up the hill to where he lived, and then I'd be waiting on the money. He'd never be there, and I'd be waiting on the money, you know, to get paid, and then I got another job setting tables in the Abbey Tavern with the baby in the corner. You know, anything I could do that I could still be with the baby. You know. And obviously I didn't want to leave her either. You know, you're really torn. Do you want to go and work and leave? And I've seen it in friends over the years when they go back to work and they're so torn, you know. So then we had another baby, Jenny, and she was great. She just slept all the time, and it was much easier, you know, just, and I sort of got a bit of a handle on being a mum and all the stuff that it takes. And luckily we'd loads of friends that used to call, and they would, when Nicole had her colic, they'd come and they'd walk up and down rocking her like this for hours because I would be so exhausted. And then Jenny was a piece of cake. She was just so easy. How
many years later was she born?
Two years later.
Yeah.
So then, and I still wasn't really working for a while. Oh yeah, then this new cool place opened in town called the Badass Cafe.
Oh, I remember the Badass, a pizza place. Because it used to be on the rock and roll tour because Sinead O'Connor worked there.
Yeah, I worked with her, but I hardly remember her because she was just a little one, and you know, I didn't. My sister Janet worked there as well. The two of us worked there for a while, but it was really tiring. We were working at night.
So you got a job as a waitress then?
Yeah, yeah. And
so how did that come about?
I can't remember how.
You just thought, I want to...
No, it was always word of mouth. You never applied for a job. You just got it through word of mouth.
Because that was quite different to doing something at home, like making the pavlovas, to actually going into town, because that's right in the centre of Dublin. Yeah. And
it was great, but it was very late night. And then it would end up that maybe I'd be getting lift home with somebody, and everybody would want to drink afterwards, and I really wanted to go home because, well, I had to get up in the morning with the babies and whatever.
Was Mick in the civil service at the stage?
No, I don't think so. He was working as a printer, and he had to get up really early in the morning. He had to get up at like about, I don't know, 5 o'clock in the morning and take 2 buses to go somewhere to work. So it was tough work and tough going, and if he wasn't on time, which he sometimes wasn't, they docked the money.
Yeah.
So we were living on about, I think it was about it was meant to be £80 a week.
Yeah.
But we never seemed to have that.
Yeah.
But I was really good with the money. I'd be putting £1 off the television license every week, and in the post office and all that sort of stuff. That we managed.
You must have been
somehow.
exhausted though. So you're working as a waiter in waitress in.
And then running around after the kids.
Tell us about the Badass then. Was it like a really, was it a go-to cool place?
Oh yeah, it was. And we all had the T-shirts. It was a new thing that said.
I remember I came to college in Dublin in 1984, and I remember going in for a pizza in there.
I probably served it.
And it was really cool, and it had that whole system for putting the little pneumatic system for putting the bills across the
you pull a string.
You mean the old Victorian communication system?
Well, they had that payment system in offices too, and you just fire it the order to the.
Yeah, they actually had it in Finlay's down the road.
It's such a shame that they let that go, took it away from being, because it was iconic. Yeah.
It was, Finlay's down the road when I was a child, where what's there now, apartments. It's Finlay's again, isn't it? Yeah. When you'd go in to get your food back then, and everything was sliced and the butter was cut and wrapped and everything was done. Yeah. Completely the opposite. There was no supermarkets yet. And that's it. There'd be somebody upstairs and they'd pull a string, the thing would shoot up, and then your change would come back down from whoever the accountant was upstairs. But,
so how long did you work there for?
So not that long, because I was absolutely exhausted. The doctor said to me, if you don't give up, you're killing yourself, Yeah,
it sounds like absolutely exhausting. You have 2 babies.
Yeah.
And
so then
so did Mick look after the babies when you went into work?
Yeah, he had to work. He had to mind them at night.
So he was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
2 of us were wrecked. Yeah, really tired, and we'd no money. I remember our neighbours up the road. The husband used to bring a bottle of wine home on a Friday night to her, and we thought that was utter luxury. Yeah, to be able to afford to do that, like we were really, it was pretty tough, but somehow we also managed to save a bit, and we managed to save enough to buy our house. Like, even though it was really tough, we were, it was tiny amounts being put aside, But then when I went down to the bank manager, we told him we were going to borrow our deposit, but we were going to pretend my dad was giving it to us. And my dad gave us the money for the solicitor, which at the time was like $1,500. It was quite a lot back then. And so we told the bank manager what we were up to, and he allowed it. But they wouldn't do that now.
They wouldn't do that now. Well, there was the era when you could talk to the bank manager, when you could go in and
explain, and it was really embarrassing because he wanted to know exactly how much we spent on groceries every week and all. It was kind of humiliating, but look, feck it, we did it. We managed to get the house, So around the same time, I'm not exactly sure, but my aunt, the one who's always been looking after me, my godmother, who, got me into everything, she was working in the Irish Independent, and she got me in as a temporary copy taker, which was basically you go in and, I mean, it's laughable now, but the reporters would phone you up.
Oh, that was common until relatively recently. They'd phone up with
and then
you do the copy taking,
And so to get my speed up, one of the neighbours down the road, he had his own business, so at the weekends he'd bring home an electric typewriter from his work, and I would type up all the pop songs on the radio to try and keep up.
So you literally would take a call and have it in a headset, and you'd have to type it up?
Yeah, really fast. Yeah, and I got so fast I could be talking to the people as I was typing and maybe watching the television. Father Ted was on later, and I'd be watching that on the television while I was typing. Got really good at it.
Go now, man. You type on the table.
Sorry about that. We're making too much noise. But
so you were a copy taker then? Yeah. And did you enjoy that?
I was in the newsroom, and the buzz was brilliant. Sometimes there'd be 3 people, the editor and 2 other people standing behind you, and you're typing away, and it was 3 rolls of paper with carbon paper in between, and they'd be ripping them out and running away, and the deadline, the fun of it all, and sometimes they'd be shouting and roaring, and then it'd be over, and the editor would come.
So did it have to be really accurate?
Well, actually,
Well, they'd
no.
be bringing it to the
No,
typesetters.
if you
Yeah.
if you made a mistake or if you misheard or whatever, you just X'd and you carried on. You just X, and carry on. And so we were really, really fast. Like, it was brilliant. It was really good. And my kids were delighted with the words of all the pop songs
Yeah.
at the time. But so anyway, I was working away there, and then they moved me to the switchboard, which was quite boring, but I got to know the whole workings of the whole place. It was, and the people I worked with were lovely. But anyway, used to get the funniest requests when people would ring up. So started to write them all down, and then I wrote. We had an in-house magazine, so I wrote a couple of articles about all the funny things that people asked for. And one of the editors read it, and he asked me would I start writing. So that's how I ended up. Yeah, it was just. And the funny thing is,
So you ended up writing for the Independent.
yeah, and I went on a press trip with people from other newspapers, and I met Arminta Wallace. I don't know if you ever heard of her.
Yes, I remember.
And she had the same story. She had done pretty much the same thing and ended up writing the same as me, just by a bit of luck, really, you know.
That was the way things could happen then. It was your sheer ability to. And so tell us about your writing career with the Independent.
So then, no, it was only really doing book reviews, and I did book reviews for 30 years, and I really enjoyed it till I got fed up eventually. But and
what kind of books were you reviewing?
Anything, everything, all sorts. Everybody.
And were you still working on the switchboard?
So no, I moved back then into the newsroom, and that was great. Yeah, it was the relief. The switchboard was just.
So you were based in the newsroom then, doing your reviews.
Yeah. So it was great. I really enjoy that now. And then there was a chance of a redundancy coming up. They were doing all kinds of shifting things around, and things like, say, the switchboard was going to be gone because they were.
Of course, everything changed.
Press yourself now.
Yeah.
And then they I went for one, and I had actually got another job and all lined up, and I didn't get the redundancy that time, so it was like, okay. And as it turned out, if I had gone for the other job, he folded a few years later, so it probably was good to stay on. So sometime later they were doing huge big cutback. They'd already cut back on printers and then if you're a reporter, you didn't ring it in anymore. You had to set the page yourself, and you know, it had really moved on. And so another opportunity came up then, and I was only 48. Gave me a huge lump sum. I was still able to continue working on the reviews, and was able to pay off the mortgage at 48. And
brilliant.
Yeah, so I sort of didn't do anything for a little while. It was, you know, Mick was saying, just take it easy, just have a rest. You know, you've been working so hard forever. And by now, like, the kids were grown up, you know, so they weren't. They'd gone to college and all that sort of stuff. So I started really swimming then in earnest, and I met up with a group of people. I started with my neighbour up the road, and they're all much older than me. And so one of the guys. And I'd always been into astronomy as an interest, you know.
I was about to ask you where did I was about to say where did the astrology, but it's astronomy.
Yeah. Well, I just
where did the astronomy come in?
I always was interested, and you know, apparently one of my earliest songs was something about Catch a Falling Star, and I was
remember
always
that
into,
song.
Yeah. And when my brothers were small, I used to have to bring them to the barbers in Sutton, Billy O'Boyle's Barbers in Sutton, when they were little, on the bus. And it was the hippie time, so I didn't want their hair cut too short, and I was supposed to bring them back with the short back and sides, and I'd be trying to get as little as possible off. But while I was waiting, there was an Ireland's Own magazine, and they were talking about this comet that was going to be coming in 1986, and I remember thinking, I'll be 30. I'll have to remember that, as if nobody else was going to mention it in the next 30 years. And it was Halley's Comet, And you know, all the years I was always like, I have to watch out for that now. Of course, it was all over the place, it was all over the news and all by then. But at the time, so I always had that kind of interest
Little
anyway.
seed. And then, so you've retired from the Independent.
Yeah. So
that's where the interest...
Yeah, so I had more time to be looking at the stars. But anyway, one of the guys that I swam with, Eamon was his name, who only died earlier on this year, and I really miss him. He was really big into astronomy, and he had like an amazing telescope and whatever. So, and he said, "Oh, yeah." He says, "Would you like to be? They're looking for a news editor for the Astronomy Ireland magazine. Would you like to do it?" So, again, word of mouth. And so I was the news editor for, I don't know, a few years, and then
Astronomy Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the editor was leaving to go. His wife, she was from somewhere in the Far East, I forget now, and he was moving over with her to her part of the world. So the job was there. So I became the editor of the magazine, and which was funny because I was saying about doing the little magazine when I was a kid. I was always into making the magazine. So and I really, really enjoyed that, and I had so much. What would you call it? You know, editorial freedom.
Yeah.
And so.
Are you still editor of Astronomy?
No, I retired. I retired a couple of years ago from everything. The review. I mean, I could have kept. I did a favour there a couple of weeks ago. I did a review because they were stuck for someone.
Is there a big community of astronomy enthusiasts in Ireland? Is there?
Huge.
Is it really?
Unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. Because it was sort of early days of Facebook when I started out.
Oh, right.
And I kind of reached out to loads of people. I hate that expression, reached out. But
it is. I am the same. I found myself using that. Thank you for reaching out. When people email me about, will you do this? I was going, thank you for reaching out. And then in the back of my head, I'm going, you big wanker. It's such an Americanism or something. It's so not what we grew up with.
No. So I managed to get in touch.
Anyway, you reached out. You reached out, Anne.
And so I am now friends with, I think, every photographer in Ireland still, and they just like started out. I'm talking maybe about 14, 20 years ago now. They sent me in their photos and they were pretty good, and now you want to see them all. They're just stunning. They're so good. They've all got so good, and there's hundreds of them. They're so good. And then also the astronomy community. I couldn't believe how many people are interested, because we have like the least, what would you call it? The least, the cloudiest. We're the cloudiest country, and yet we've the highest proportion of people.
There is that place in Mayo between Balmullet and Newport where they say that is the optimal place.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, is it true? Is the optimal place to observe the sky in Europe?
I've been to a few festivals down there, and it is.
There was a festival recently. Yeah. I saw the flyer. We were doing a show in Balmullet, and I saw the flyers for it. It's Mayo Dark Skies Festival. Dark Sky,
and they're really.
So what's that like? What is the Dark Skies Festival? What do they do?
Well, they have talks. There's an interpretive centre there. But it's between Mulranny and Newport. Yeah. So the two towns host different things, and they'll have things for children. They'll have maybe a planetarium that they can crawl inside and look up at the stars.
And do they have a lot of night outings where you go?
You go out and you look at the stars.
But like you said, are they not
there's been loads of times
murdered by the cloud cover?
Yeah, it's been loads of them cancelled because it's drizzling or something, you know. But despite all that, we've had we have the highest per capita interest in astronomy in the world, considering that we get something like 2 out of 3 cloudy nights.
What do you put that down to? And what do you think that is?
I feel like
when you said per capita there, and I'm going to say the per capita murders of astronomers in Ireland. Because you always expect to hear murder after per capita.
Afterward per capita. Okay, well, a head of population, we seem to have a huge amount of people. But I don't know. I kind of wonder, does it go back as far as Newgrange that we always?
Yeah, I think so. And then some people say the Irish mythology and all the characters in the mythology is actually a bit like in the same way in the Christian stories, it's actually planetary. It's actually telling the story of the planet.
What have been some of the great moments for you writing for Astronomy Ireland?
I met Chris Hadfield, the astronaut, and interviewed him. I was only supposed to get 10 minutes and I had about an hour. It was great fun. It was really good. And then I met, I got a letter from a teacher in Cork, and her little girl who was working, or her pupil was about 5 or 6, and she wanted to know why Pluto had been demoted from a planet, and you know, so she'd written to NASA and no one had replied.
Yeah.
And I had a contact in NASA, Carly Howitt is her name. She worked on the mission to Pluto. So I got in touch with her and I said, listen, you know, this little girl, she didn't hear anything back and all. Well, they went overboard, NASA. They sent her parcels, they sent her T-shirts. They really went to town. They really were really nice. And the story went viral. It was all over. I don't know if it's still there, but if you type in, it comes up in, you know, like Czech Republic or somewhere. You know, it just went all over the world, this story about the little girl and NASA. So that was kind of nice. And then I think the best thing that we ever had was last year in May, because I'd be getting alerts from all my contacts all over the world, all over Ireland. There had been a big blast coming from the sun, and it was going to hit here. And we went down to the Burrow Beach, and we took the eldest grandchild, who was about 12 at the time, and we went down, and we were stumbling around in the dark on the Burrow Beach. And the next thing we were like, can you see anything? Because we've been looking for the aurora with our eyes for like 20 years since we saw it last. And the next thing, there was a kind of a haze of white, and we were not sure. And the next thing, it just blew up. You could see everything. It was like daylight, and only it was like the biggest rainbow you ever saw over the whole beach.
How long did that last?
All night. We stayed for several hours, and then eventually Anna, the granddaughter, she didn't have a jacket. She was getting cold. Like it was like 2 o'clock in the morning or something. So we drove home. You could even see when you were driving.
What is that phenomenon called? Is
the aurora, the northern
aurora.
lights. Yeah.
Oh, so it is. It's like, but then don't the northern lights occur all the time? In
Nearly
winter
all the time.
in Scandinavian countries.
Nearly all the time, because it's particles coming from the sun, and then they get agitated by as they're getting funneled, because the Earth is like a big magnet, and the funnel it actually protects us. We've got a big protective layer of magnetism around us, so it all gets funneled to the 2 poles. So if you live near the pole, you're going to see all these particles getting
but it's quite
excited.
rare for us to see a phenomenon like that. But it's just the sun blast was so strong, it
was a really big one, and it was just went.
When was that?
So I think it was in May last year. And Nicole, our daughter, was in London, and in London, my brother was always saying to me, "Oh, I can't even see the moon, like it's so bright."
Yeah.
She took a photo of it over a house in London with streetlights and all. Normally, you have to go like to the dark sky places to see it.
How was this predicted? What's it based on?
Well, there's loads of different spaceships, satellites going around.
Like for spaceships.
Spaceships that are monitoring all the time the activity on the sun. So they'll see it if it's getting. They're called CMEs. It's doing it all the time. You know, it kind of the magnetism builds up, and then it twists and it pulls out, and then it blasts away, and half the time it blasts off either side, not near us. But sometimes it'll come directly at us, and this one was a big one, really fast, and arrived. And so anyway, we're down on the beach. There was only a handful of us, people that I knew, that had also got the alert, and we had a brilliant night. It was really good. And then they said it might come the next night as well. Sometimes it's continuing on. So the following night we go down, we couldn't find parking. There was the whole Burrow Road and everywhere was full.
Because the word went out,
People
and did it happen?
Had bonfires, and they were all waiting, nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
Was that only seen in European countries, or was it worldwide?
So it would have been also in like New Zealand and Australia, because
Can you
it's
imagine
the
that
2
kicked
poles.
off in America? Cults running amok all over the place.
Well, they must have been able to see it down as far as.
When's the next one due?
You don't know. That's the thing.
Oh, well, how long is the alert? How long ahead?
You might get a day or so.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, so you track this? Do you?
Yeah.
Do you have? Are you kind of? Do you track all this phenomenon?
I don't even have to, because people just text me and let me know. But yeah, you can. There's sites that are. It's mostly NASA and the European Space Agency.
You were saying, I just had this thought. You were just saying the per capita interest in astronomy is so high in Ireland, but I think there's just such a big rural population in Ireland. I'm just thinking of growing up in the country.
Yeah.
Like growing up in rural Sligo, my big memory is the sky and how brilliantly you could see all the stars and how you could really see the Milky Way, and you could pick out the plough and all of them, and
it's almost hard to pick it out because there's so many other stars when you go down to the country.
And it was so brilliant.
Yeah,
like the sky at night is so, but you don't appreciate it at all living in a city.
No,
you just cannot.
Even here, because we've got a lot, and even in since I grew up in Howth, I mean, all the lights going up towards Balbriggan, they weren't there.
Yeah.
So a lot of the lights, if you're looking that direction, are, obscuring. They're throwing up light.
Polluting.
Yeah,
polluting.
Exactly.
But is the other side of the hill? Is Howth? Is it all lit? Or are they still good?
Out the front here, I can put my telescope out the front now.
Well, we do have a nice big patch of golf courses.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Anywhere to the east, because there's only the sea. So and sometimes if the planets are lined up.
So you have a telescope.
Yeah, it's in the shed. Don't tell
So
me.
Anne, we're going to start wrapping it up now. So we're in our last.
Okay, Anne, you have had an utterly fascinating life. What? Sorry,
I didn't seem that interesting to me.
About this. But what I love talking to you, you're so self-effacing and you're going, I was shy. Oh, but that happened. You've ended up following your nose, having the most incredible life. You've done the most extraordinary things.
Thank you.
You've had an amazing career and raised your children, had your children young, raised them and struggled, got your house together, everything. What is next for you now? You have retired from editing Astronomy Ireland. You're so dynamic. What is the next thing do you see?
I don't really know, because it's kind of, I've never had this kind of peace and quiet before, but I've 5 grandkids as well, and they're here every day. So,
they're here every day?
Well, 3 of them are here every day, yeah. So they, take up a lot of my time. They absolutely, it was like, because my father died about 16 years ago, and then the following year, Anna came along, the first granddaughter, and it was just like, a light switching back on, and it's been like that ever since. So they really, but now they're getting to be teenagers. They'll probably be off doing their own thing soon. But
and they'll be looking for that storybook that you told them about.
I don't think so. I don't think your grandchildren take you for granted at all. I don't think so. I've seen you with them.
I love them. They're just, they're amazing. They really, and my daughters, but just the grandkids are something special, And at the moment, my baby brother died last year, and he'd cancer for 7 years, and he started to write his memoirs, and of course, as he got sicker and he was on morphine, it got a bit garbled and funny. So he only sent it to me not long before he died, and I promised him I'd do something with it. And I had been writing to him about his life, just before he went to. So I had sent him one lot, and he sent me this, and then the next thing he kind of went suddenly in the end. And I couldn't face, so the last year I just haven't really felt that great really about getting things done. And so only the other day I found a place that will print it for me, and I'm starting to work on it now, and I think that'll get me back into writing again, get his out of the way.
And are you going to self-publish his memoir?
Yeah, I looked into publishing, but then it's really for his family and friends, do you know?
Yeah.
So I didn't. The publishing was like all about royalties and promoting, and I don't want that.
It's quite interesting now. I mean, I don't know the way it works now, but I know with self-publishing, it's so dynamic with online platforms that it is feasible. Yeah. But so his whole story is from Howth to London to
and he had an amazing life. He travelled the world by himself, travelled the world with work, and spoke loads of languages, and brilliant guy, really funny. I think Paul was in school with them. Yeah, they were great.
Oh, I'm really
great
sorry
times,
for your loss, because was he the youngest?
He was, yeah, and we were all crazy about him, you know. So, yeah, the last year was kind of hard, but anyway, his anniversary was recently, and I thought, right, come on, you need to get this done. I promised him.
Very therapeutic.
Yeah.
Now I probably
now
will.
you will. I mean, you have to leave the space when it's so raw. But I think writing out things is a wonderful way of processing and giving it a place.
Yeah. Have you read it all?
I read it all before he died, and then. And I had, as I said, I'd written him a couple of things and sent them, and then I just stopped. I couldn't even finish what I'd started myself, let alone go back to his. But yeah, now I can. I haven't actually looked at it, but I've done a test page with a photo of him just to make sure that I can lay it out. And yeah, my nephew Vincent is a graphic designer in London, and we're going over there soon, so hopefully he'll be able to make sure I lay it out, and then I just have to
Is Vincent his son?
No, he's his nephew as well.
Nephew, yeah.
So hopefully, yeah. So and once I get that done, then maybe
what
I'll
was his
get
name?
Back. So the one who
your
died,
brother's name?
Michael.
Yeah. What's his second
Duff.
name? Duff.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Duff.
Duff. That was your.
That was my maiden name. Yeah. So
Duff.
I only changed from Duff to Dunne, which is black to brown.
That's a Duff. Duff. Oh, do you think Duff? Does Duff come from Dove?
Yeah, Dove.
I never realised that because I knew somebody called Duffy at school. It comes from Duff. It would have been Dove, black.
Yeah.
Ah, the anglicisation of Duff. Oh, yeah.
So that's the joke. Yeah.
To black to brown. Oh, Dunne. Yeah.
Yeah,
brown. Yeah.
So that was it.
Black to brown.
So yeah, but I still have a lovely sister and two brothers that were all doing well, and
that's your sister who moved near you when you were young, and and does she still live near you?
She does, not too far away, and we're on the phone most days, and we've had a lot of holiday. We all had for Vincent actually for his 40th, we all went to Mallorca in April for his 40th. The whole family. It was great. Yeah. So no, it's not like we haven't been just brooding for a year. We've been doing nice things too.
Yeah.
But just, you know.
On that note, Anne, I just want to thank you so much for sharing your incredible life. I think it's so interesting, just the way things were and the way things unfolded for you, and it's very inspiring, I think, for younger women to listen to your story and go, you know, because you find with young people there's this whole thing of what are you doing, and your life unfolded. I know things have changed so much, but there is a lovely sense of the unfolding in your life.
Well, now they kind of have to change careers a lot of the time, don't they?
Yeah, well, there's no such thing as job for life.
Yeah, so, you know, Well,
thank you so much, Anne. It was just lovely chatting with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.